Hi, I'm Miss Jo, and today I have a wonderful story for you about learning how to accept the help of others. This is called Ernestine the Independent. Ernestine was sitting in the back of the class. That was her favorite place to sit. She was ignoring the teacher talking at the front of the class. That was her favorite thing to do. This was because Ernestine thought she did not need anyone's help. I'm Ernestine the Independent, Ernestine said to herself. Then something the teacher said caught her attention. Some of the students involved in the project will be interviewed for a news story on TV, the teacher said. What's that about TV? Ernestine shouted without raising her hand. Ernestine, said the teacher, you should raise your hand when you ask a question. And you should also have listened in the first place. The teacher continued without asking Ernestine any more questions and without answering Ernestine's question. But Ernestine listened and was able to figure out there was some kind of project to clean up the park. And some of the kids who helped would be interviewed for TV. Being interviewed on TV was very interesting to Ernestine. This project is going to make me famous, she thought. When it was time to sign up to participate, Ernestine shoved all the other kids to get to the front of the first. There was a map of the park with drawings of different jobs. Some were hard and some were easy. The hard jobs had a lot of blanks by them for people to write the names down to help with that job. And the easy jobs had only a few names by them. Ernestine thought very hard. If I do the hardest jobs and do it all by myself, then I'm sure to get interviewed on TV and I'll be famous. People will call me Ernestine the Independent because I can do it all by myself. The hardest job on the list was repairing the giant pirate ship swing set and slide at the center of the park. Ernestine signed her name as team leader on the blank beside it. But that wasn't all. Ernestine signed up all made-up names on all the blanks so that no one else could sign up to help. That Saturday, the project manager, a lady named Elaine, met Ernestine at the pirate ship in the park. Ernestine signed in and Elaine explained the work to be done. First, Elaine said, your team will need to sand all the surfaces to remove the weathered paint and any splinters. Then you'll need to tighten all the bolts that hold the wood together and replace any wood or bolts that are missing or in bad shape. After that, you will need to restain all the wood and paint the sections that need painting. That's an awful lot of work, Ernestine, said Elaine in closing. Where's the rest of your team? Oh, they'll be along, said Ernestine. Elaine looked at her clipboard and read the names of Ernestine's team. Well, when Jimmy Depp, Tim Cruise, Alan Baldwin, and Mr. Dr. D, and the rest of them show up, be sure to explain to them the complete list of the jobs. There's far too much work for only one person to do. And I'm Ernestine the Independent, thought Ernestine to herself. I can do it myself. As the day wore on, Ernestine worked as hard as she could and she wanted to finish the list. Lots of people came by and offered to help. Every time someone offered to help, Ernestine said, I can do it myself. Soon it was almost the end of the day. Ernestine looked at the huge amount of work that was left. She had not even finished sanding, and that was the first thing on the list. Ernestine began to think about what would happen if the news crew came. and interviewed her now. She saw Elaine, the project manager, walking towards her across the park. Ernestine didn't feel very independent. She sat on one of the swings and began to cry. "Oh my, Ernestine," said Elaine, "where are the rest of your team? Why didn't you come ask for help?" Ernestine mumbled, I'm Ernestine the Independent, and I can do it myself." "Oh, Ernestine," sighed Elaine, "no one could do this job by themselves. That's why I assigned so many people to it. Being independent sounds really good, but really, none of us could go through life without each other, and we aren't meant to. God wants us to accept the help of others. Luckily, most of the other project leaders, Henry, Percival, and Violet, are all done with their projects because they had a lot of help. Now, stay right here and I'll go bring them over." As Elaine walked away, Ernestine thought about being on TV with all the other kids from her class helping her. That didn't make her happy at all. When the other students showed up, Ernestine was nowhere in sight. She had gone home. On the news that night, there was an inspiring story about how all the groups in the park had worked together to finish the pirate swing set. And they had done it at that project at the last moment. Percival was interviewed on camera. "We knew we were running out of time as the sun went down," said Percival, "but we didn't give up. We all had each other, and so we could get finished." Ernestine was not mentioned at all. Ernestine watched the story on TV while lying in bed. When the story was done, she turned off the TV and turned out the light. "I didn't need their help," she thought. "I'm Ernestine, the Independent." And that is the end of our story. And I think the really good lesson out of that is that there are times when we can be independent. We can dress ourselves, we can get ourselves a bowl of cereal, we know how to do all the little things for ourselves, but when it comes to a project that is too big, we need to rely on God, and God sends us each other to help. So we don't have to be like Ernestine the Independent. God meant us to work together. Thanks for joining me for this story, and I hope you have a great week.